Can't I just prop it up here? Yeah, I think. It's gonna be to hold in the front, like my other phone. There we go. Shut up. So when Alqamar comes in, then I can add her in. Let me see. See if I could just sit this there. There you go. Let's see. Add in. Hey, Alqamar. Hey, girl.
I'm here.
I should have put out my Power Hour show.
Hey. We did it.
Yay.
Let me get closer.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Weather. I might have to move
The
around a little
weather,
bit.
it is
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just trying to plug up my phone, that's all. So I might have to move over. There we go. That's better. Oh, now you can't really see me. Yeah, no, it's not that. It's the way the light is coming in.
Hey,
I'm gonna have to
this
go
Sean.
from this.
Hi, Bill, Jonathan. Hey, guys.
Hi, Angie.
Can y'all hear me?
Oh.
You good, Hanifah?
Yeah, I think I'm okay.
It's
I might just have to
snowing.
hold.
Can y'all? Oh, y'all can't see that. I was trying to show them the snow.
Set up. You can't see it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's snowing.
So it's just snowing, and it hasn't stopped yet. It's been going all morning.
Yep. So here we are. We still like troopers, still going strong, but we just aren't together because the snow is not allowing for that to take place.
Yep, and so we are still bringing it live for you guys today to have this conversation because we definitely want to make sure that we are providing some consistency. So here we are talking about relationships today. So, Alqamar, what are we talking about today, sweetie? Relationships, dishonesty, and jealousy.
Jealousy and dishonesty, right?
Yeah, what is that all about?
So this was like an impromptu topic because we had a whole plan. We had a whole show plan with guests and everything, but we couldn't have the guests, so we had to postpone that show. So last minute, Hanifah, as she always do, come through. She is brilliant when it comes to these topics, especially as it relates to relationships. So she came up with this topic on the fly. I was like, let's roll with it. Sounds good to me. So here we are. Jealousy and dishonesty.
Yeah. Let me see if I can flip it.
In our relationships. So we're going to need y'all help too, family, to let's talk about it. Let's hash it out. Let's discuss it. Let's come to some solutions.
Yeah. So
you want to go first, Hanifah?
No, the reason why I kind of brought it up, I was like, let me think of something that is we see consistently, because I was thinking of something that was trending, and I'm like, what is a big issue that we're finding in relationships that is consistently an issue, and so this honesty, we hear that a lot from the woman, a lot, and then jealousy, we tend to hear a lot from the men. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are women where it's like, oh, some men are just jealous, but you hear a lot of it from men where it's like, I can't even have a female friend, I can't even have a conversation with a female without her having an attitude, an issue about it. So I wanted to kind of touch from both angles, from the female, the woman's perspective, and from the man's perspective, but when it comes to dishonesty, I think that if you're going to tackle the issue of honesty in relationship, it has to start from the jump. You know what I mean? You can't start off a relationship on dishonesty and then somewhere midway you're like, well, we need to be honest with each other, because now somehow you got an awakening, and you're now, or you got saved, or you gave your life to the Lord, or whatever it is that people do. And so all of a sudden you are demanding and requiring honesty, whereby before the foundation of your relationship is not even based on that. And a perfect example of that would be where we have a lot of creeping around, right? Where people are cheating. Let's say a man is sleeping with a married woman, or a woman is sleeping with a married man. The relationship starts off like that. And then somehow those two people end up being together. Your relationship pretty much started off based on lies. You know what I mean? And some people will be like, well, how? I know they were married, but that person had to lie to maintain that relationship with you. So now midway, you're with this person now, and this person is no longer married to whoever, and they're with you, and you're requiring this high standard, this high expectation. Why? Because now it's you. You know what I mean?
Good point.
Yeah. So when it comes to honesty, it has to be something that's put on the table from the jump. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because and even in that scenario you just described, how is trust built in that relationship? So you both were being dishonest outside of the relationship, and now all of a sudden you two together, and you both are requiring honesty and loyalty and trust. That seems like an oxymoron to me.
Exactly, and that's a legit question. That's a good question, Alqamar. That's a good question. And that's a valid question to ask, because it's almost like, how dare you? How dare you even ask for honesty? You were not demanding or requiring me to be this upright, honest person from the beginning. Now, because I'm supposed to be married to you, your requirements and your expectations of me have now changed. And for me, I personally think that's a disconnect from your fellow man, to be honest. Whereby it's a kind of like a selfish move, where it's like, well, I don't care that you lied to her, but I care that you lied to me. I don't care that you hurt her, but I care that you hurt me. I don't care that you cheat on her, but I care that you cheat on me. You know what I mean? It's a complete disregard for your neighbor, pretty much. Yeah, and it goes back to us being disconnected from each other. So therefore, we lack empathy.
Why is it so difficult, you think, for some of us to just be honest? Why is it that, why do we have this challenge in just being honest and committed? Anybody?
Yeah, I know.
Hey, Sharita.
Yeah, we would like you guys to chime in too, please. Like, let us know what give us some feedback on this. I mean, for me, personally, as a woman, we could be hypocritical, by the way. Because we can be dishonest in different capacities, and as long as it's not this huge thing, we feel like, well, it's harmless, right? It's not a big deal, right? But I know, at least from my conversation with men and paying attention, a lot of men, and this is not a justification, it is not, and it's not an excuse for it. I find that a lot of women ask men to be honest, but when they are honest, we chew them out. We chew them out. Yes. I just want your honest opinion. I mean, what do you think? And he's like, well, you know what? You did gain some weight. You are a little fat now. What? And then we go off. You just asked him to be honest. So when we ask for honesty as men, we have to be careful, because we tend to be a little more sensitive to certain information. You know what I mean? So that's one part of it, I would say. Now, as far as like honesty in general, I think that's rooted in like upbringing and all of that, because we bring all of that stuff into relationships.
Right.
Yeah. But what about like commitment? Yeah. What do you think about commitment though? Because that's a big one.
Okay. Hey, Sister Wasita. What do you mean?
Like you mentioned, you say, why is it so difficult for some people to commit?
Oh, right. Right. Why? What do you think that's about? When I don't know. It's funny because I was watching a live stream from these brothers. They had asked the question too: why do men run? Why do men leave? And they were like 10 different brothers that they asked the question to, and they all had different answers. And the prevailing response was, we leave because we weren't there in the first place. We weren't there. We weren't never really committed to begin with. And so I'm wondering if we as women hold these false notions in our own minds about what we actually have when we don't actually have. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, I think we,
You're mashing on some toes there.
Uh-oh, I mashed your toes. So, because it's like, because it was like, when they said it, I was like, oh, well, that will kind of, sum it up. It's like, well, if a man was never really committed to begin with, then how do you expect him to be in this committed relationship with you? So it's easier for them to run and leave because the attachment wasn't there to begin with. But we see it as something different. We see it as a relationship and committed and we together and da-da-da-da-da. When now, does that fall under being dishonest? Brothers?
Why is that though? Why is it that we fail to see what's right before our eyes? Why? Why do we miss that?
I think dishonesty. I think that a lot of times, and I'm just using the men and women as an example and not trying to put all the brothers in one basket or the sisters, but just for the sake of making an example, I think that brothers tend to not be truthful. So instead of being truthful and honest about their really true intentions and feelings, they skate through and they're not true. And so the woman thinks there's a lot more there than what actually is. And so she's heartbreaking when he is easily able to just leave. What you think? What y'all think?
Yeah, Wasita says when you lie or deceive, it's impossible to commit. We don't want to accept the writing on the wall. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. I had that as a question. Can a relationship survive if the parties don't trust one another? Is that like a relationship that will last forever? And can you last and stand strong on if you don't trust your mate?
I don't see how. I don't see how. How is that even possible? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that. If both of you guys don't trust each other, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing except wasting time and energy?
And stress. That's stressful to be in a relationship with somebody and every time they leave your sight, you're wondering where they are, what they're doing. They tell you where they are. You don't believe it. Your mind is racing with all these different theories. So it could be true. It could not be true.
Right.
That's a lot of stress to put on yourself.
Right.
I don't do it all the time. Why do you think we do it? Why do you think we do that?
I mean, there's a lot of factors I think that are involved here. I personally think a lot of us, we don't want to be alone. That's a big part of it. And I think that only increases with age. The need for companionship increases with age. And you tend to see where people might have this whole long list of things. And then suddenly as they get older, you realize the list is getting like smaller and smaller. Because the pool of men or women tend to, I would say men, because the pool of women is always larger, tends to
the requirement.
Yeah. I would definitely say that's a big part of it. We have to somehow we start to say, well, maybe I'm being too strict, or we start to question our own standards,
Right.
our own standards, right? But it's interesting because we gotta be careful with that because a lot of us create our lists out of experiences, and experiences are there to teach you so that you do not repeat the same thing. So we have to be careful with that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, make sure you guys are
Mm-hmm.
sharing the live as well, please. Welcome to the Empower Hour Live.
Yes, please share while we on.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here sharing now, so sorry.
Yeah, I just shared mine as well. It's fine. So yeah, I think that's a big part of it, not really wanting to be alone. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
I agree.
We kind of like sacrifice our self-worth in the process. And this is both men and women, so we got to be careful with that, you know?
Well, go into that that part about bringing that into the relationship, bringing those past demons into the relationship.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm like big on that. Go ahead.
Because I'm like, could it be possible to? Oh, that was my question. Where is it? Is not bringing the past into a new relationship even possible to do, especially when you haven't healed? So you know how we say all the time, you shouldn't bring your past up, leave that, that was then. Don't bring your old junk from the old relationship into your new relationship. And we hear that all the time. We shouldn't do that. I'm wondering, is it possible not to do that though? Especially if you haven't healed those past pains.
I think I get your point. It's not really not possible, but I think when we talk about that, we're specifically talking about the hurt that we bring into new relationships. You know, it's not necessarily the experiences that you've had.
You
I
sure?
think.
Well, you said we shouldn't.
No, I'm saying you're right in what you're saying. It's impossible to not bring something with you. I think the issue arises when we're bringing the hurt caused by someone else, right, into the new relationship. And that person now, they have to deal with that. That's unfair to anyone. I'm not talking about experiences and things that you've done in the relationship that you've learned lessons from. You better take those with you.
Right.
But I'm talking about hurt that we refuse to address. And this is where space in relationships come in my opinion. If you know you've really been hurt in a relationship, you probably need to sit it out for a little while and really deal with yourself before you move on to someone else. Because now and I like to put it like this. I use this analogy. You're bringing dirty laundry from somebody else's place and asking the new person to help you wash them and unpack it. Nah. That's unfair. Now, will you find people who are willing to do that? Absolutely. We will find people who are willing to do that, where they have the patience. But not everyone does. And if they don't, that is their right. They shouldn't have to be forced to do that. Because a lot of it comes from us just sitting down and learning how to heal. You know what I mean? Like this person's Shu is saying, you can learn from those experiences and be a better person for a relationship. But if you haven't learned to heal, why get into another relationship? And I totally agree. That's kind of where I'm coming from.
I guess. Well, how do you do that though? How do you heal if you don't know anything about anything and you've just been crushed down to the cement?
Right.
In your last relationship. And so what do you do? What are the steps to take to become whole again so you won't bring that same pain into the new relationship? What would you do, Hanifah, in that scenario?
You froze up, so I need you to say it again. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I said, you didn't hear anything?
I heard some of it, but the middle part, a big chunk of it I missed. Sorry.
I said, okay, so what if you were crushed to the concrete from your past relationship, right? And you need to heal in order to be better, to go into a new relationship or find a new love or whatever. What are those steps? What steps would you take, Hanifah, personally,
Me.
in order to heal yourself?
And I can speak on this because I have done it. And it wasn't necessarily just being hurt. I also hurt. So I was hurt and I also hurt, right? So, they say hurt people, right? And so I had to sit it out. And I just took time for myself. I just took time for myself. I didn't date or anything. I actually opened up to myself to dating probably like a year and a half after, but I kind of just sat it out. I read books that help build self. I started paying attention to self, started listening to self, started beginning to correct not the behavior, but the mentality that pushes the behavior. Some of the behaviors that I saw in myself. You know what I mean? Because a lot of it starts here, right? Because a lot of us have these pathologies in our families that we don't recognize that are pathologies, and it's just like cyclical stuff, and you got to address it. Things that you're like, okay, what's the big deal? Like you genuinely don't feel it's a big deal. So what I had to do, the first thing was to get alone. And that means no dating, none of that stuff. For a little while. It's not going to kill us. You know what I mean? So that's the first step. And if you need to seek professional help, I would encourage that as well. You know what I mean? And also get a wrong woman, as a woman I'm speaking, get a wrong woman who encourages that process of you healing. Because not every person around you is for it. You're going to have people in your ear all the time. Girl, you need to find yourself a next boo. Because people believe in replacement. Replacement is healing for a lot of people. Just replace them. So that would, you asked what would I do, and that would be the first step for me.
Yeah, you know what I find that is beneficial for me is when I take the situation and instead of blaming and pointing the finger, even if that other individual I felt was in the wrong,
right.
I will choose to focus on what I could have done differently or what I can do better in the future or moving forward. Because you know what helps with that? It helps you from becoming bitter.
Thank you.
It helps you from becoming bitter and sinister when you're able to say, you know what? I was a participating party in that madness. You know what I'm saying? So what could I do differently so as not to attract that madness into my life again? And when I go that route, as opposed to pointing the finger and saying he was dead wrong. Oh, I hate him for doing this. Oh, he did this to me. Oh, wait, I'm gonna get him back. Instead of going there, and I take onus and responsibility for the role I played, then I'm able to see things clearer and understand things better. Yeah.
And you made a point as far as taking ownership as far as how did I contribute to that? For example, as women, we have to hold each other accountable for our choices in men. We really do. So here's the thing. When our sisters come to us, and you're seeing a pattern here, okay? They're coming to us in like this woe is me mentality. Why is it that I always run into men that are like this? We need to talk to our sisters and say, yeah, let's talk about that. Let's unpack that. Why is it that you finding yourself in these type of relationships all the time? Right. And then so when we have women that are complaining like, they're with a guy and he's constantly cheating or he's dogging her, whatever. Here's what I want to talk to her about. Yeah, he's wrong. But let's talk about you. What is it about you that would stay with someone like that? Yeah. And enable that type of behavior? Let's talk about that instead. I don't want to focus on him. I want to focus on you because guess what? We need you to get healed, mama. So that when you go to the next person, you bring in something to the relationship. And if you see any sign of hurt, or any sign of this person not being good for you, it makes it easier for you to walk out. You know why? Because that deficit in yourself no longer exists. So that's the conversations we need to be having. Not having a pity party and giving her napkin and tissues. Okay, give her the tissue and let her wipe her tears and start to unpack the issue, because she is a part of the issue. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then with men, someone just said in the section, someone just said in the comment section, men deal with it differently, that men tend to replace. Brothers need to hold brothers accountable too. And that is how they approach it. An older gentleman told me that this Washingtonian I used to work with, he passed not too long ago. But he sat me down and said that we don't do all of that processing emotions and all of that. We just replace. And that's the problem. So that you coming into a we meeting these type of guys, you know, and we're wondering, like, why you just seem like you have a chip on your shoulder. Yeah, he probably got 3 chips on his shoulder from the last 3 exes that he was with, and he never dealt with those issues. So now you're running into it. So brothers need to hold brothers accountable too. You know, and so when and also when we're in relationship with each other, we also need to stop looking for perfection, and we need to have some patience with each other. Because both people are coming. Come on, man. We're all coming from different backgrounds, different experiences. This isn't just even about exes. We all have family stuff. Some of us are bringing trauma into relationships. We need to be tuned in enough. And this is why the whole casual thing, you know, I'm kind of like about that, because I'm like, if you're going to connect with someone, connect with them for real. You know, because there's a lot of healing, especially as Black people, as an oppressed people in this society. We are bringing stuff to the table from the jump, off the bat. Like, there's no avoiding that.
Right. Right. I agree. Yeah. Good points. Good points. How about juggling multiple partners all at once? Does that play into the self-esteem of that individual?
That's a good question. I don't know. Well, does it play into the self-esteem? Okay, so are we saying that perhaps someone that's juggling multiple men or women has low self-esteem issues? Is that what we're implying?
I'm asking. I'm asking.
You gonna put this on
me? Yep. What do you think?
I can't. What do I think? I can't. I have to say juggling. Okay, so when we say juggling, are we talking about juggling in a deceptive way, where the parties know nothing of each other? Thank you. Okay.
Still on dishonesty. Still on dishonesty.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you, Alqamar. I would say there's definitely a security issue, probably trust issue. I would say that if you feel the need to deceive that many people at one time, for what? What are you getting out of that? You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's both.
What do you mean security? What do you mean security issue?
The insecurity piece I'm talking about, because we often, like, a lot of times when women do it, we always get the, oh, she's insecure because she's sleeping with multiple men. But they are promiscuous men too, and for some reason we do not label them insecure. We might have other names for them, but insecure is not a choice of words when it comes to men who are promiscuous as well. I think it's both ways. I think
it shows a lack of self-discipline.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah, I think that, you know, I think it takes discipline, of your self-discipline, to be able to hold off or ward off or actually deny yourself some of the worldly pleasures, you know, to be, especially when you know that it's going to cause a lot of pain and heartache and chaos and drama if found out. So it's like with anything else, if you got to sneak around to do it, that alone tells you that that's not upright. That's not a righteous way to, you know, live. So we already know that that's the standards in that type of lifestyle is morally low.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that it's a lot of lack of discipline on whatever party involved when you choose to go that lifestyle. That's just the way I
No,
see
that's
it.
fine. I mean, I agree as far as a lack of discipline if you are running around. There are people in polygynous relationships. That's why I asked that question. Because in those
Right.
people who are in those type of relationships where everyone is aware of the situation, um,
Right.
I would not necessarily say that's an insecurity thing. However, the women who subject themselves to those type of arrangements tend to be called insecure still because they're saying how can you share a man? And I'm just like, that doesn't mean that she's insecure. You know, there's a people who know about each other. But when you're talking about the deception, yeah, there's definitely some underlying issues with that individual. Absolutely. There's no way around that.
Mm.
That's a lot of lying going on.
Wasita said that's the mind of a selfish and self-centered person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and someone is talking about greed too. You know, also too. I think also it's signs of hurt.
Go
Yeah,
there.
I think so too. And I think for us, we gotta be I'm very careful with labeling people, especially around these type of situations. Like for example, maybe it's the type of work I do, but if I see a stripper or a prostitute, you know, immediately people is just like, she's sleeping with multiple men, but we really don't want to dig deeper as to why she's even doing it. You know, a lot of people are carrying a lot of hurt. They don't have any trust for the opposite sex. You know, they're not trying to connect. And maybe there was a point in their life where they wanted to connect and they were completely damaged, you know, and so they're walking around. So that, yeah, they're hurt and they're not trying to connect with anyone. And I've met women who constantly try to stay whatever that means, 2 steps ahead of men because they've been hurt so many times. See, by the time we meet those women, what we don't get is the backstory. We're looking at who they are currently and we're judging them based on that. But we all come from somewhere. And all our behaviors and how we act is connected to something else. That's how I see it. Both men and women. I don't even exclude men in that. When I see a man that sleeps around a lot and like you call it, lacking self-discipline in that area, there is definitely more to the story other than just greedy or he just want to sleep around. That's not enough for me. It's not enough. It's too easy. That's too easy.
Yeah. Okay, jealousy. We haven't kind of touched on that topic a lot. What breeds jealousy, do you think? Well, let me ask this question first. What's the difference between jealousy and envy?
That's a good question. Is there a difference? No.
I would think.
Okay, go ahead.
I would think jealousy is more. When I think envy, I think of wanting something that somebody else has had.
Covetousness. You think covetousness. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what came to my mind too. When I think of envy.
Right. When it comes to jealousy, I think of like attention or something. You're jealous of, you need more attention that somebody's not giving you or something.
So like,
or you're jealous. Huh?
So are you saying like jealous? Yes, Aina, please share the video. We encourage you to. It's just, so you're saying like jealousy is more out of like a need that you feel like someone is not meeting within yourself?
Well, I guess envy could fall under that too.
Okay, because look, like Edward just chimed in and said you can be jealous out of love, you are envious out of hate.
Ooh. Okay.
I don't know about jealousy. I have an issue with jealousy in love though. Because I just had this conversation this morning.
Okay. Yeah, let us hear it.
I had a conversation with a friend and we were discussing like we were just okay, just give you some background. We were just talking about how you can have a woman who finds out another woman likes her significant other. And again, we're talking about women because we're women, right? So she and I were talking about that, and I was saying, why would it enrage you that someone else loves the person you're with? You know what I mean? Like, why are you upset because someone loves the person you're with? That's when you really think about that, it's like, it makes no sense. So then we begin to talk about the jealousy piece with possessiveness, because people feel like if I love you, you're mine. And I don't believe it. I don't believe in that. I don't. You don't own anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone.
That's right. That's right.
You don't. And
that's right.
The illusion that we find ourselves in sometimes that we do is what stresses us out, is what gets us in these predicaments and gets us, because once you believe in that, you then have these expectations of that person that is actually unfair for you to even put on them. I do not think that love is possessive at all. I would never subscribe to it. Love is not possessive. Love is me saying, Alqamar, you know what? I love you and I want you to be with me, no homo here, Alqamar. But I'm just giving an example. Say I'm a man.
No homo.
No homo.
Pause, no homo. Yeah.
So say I'm a guy and I'm like, I'm interested in you, I'm really loving you, I'm feeling you, and I really want this monogamous relationship with you, right? So it's like me saying to you, I'm gonna try to hold on to you, but you're unhappy. You're unhappy with me.
Yes.
Okay? And there are things that are out there, or maybe somebody else that makes you happy. Love says to you, I set you free. And not even set you free. I'm going to let you go so that you could be happy. Because your happiness is what's important. That is love. Love is not possessiveness. And then we could say, what do we call love when people don't want to let others go and they rather take them out of this world than let somebody else have them? Is that love too? Or is it what? Love in an extreme way?
Girl, let me give you 100 hearts. Let me give you 100 hearts. Girl, you know what, Hanifah, and I can credit you for breaking that down to me in a way to allow and to actually use that in my own personal life and it to benefit me, because you're right. And what I found is that when I let go of the possessiveness,
there you go.
It helps me to heal easier. And it helps me to it helps me to get over the situation faster.
I was just gonna say, how has it helped you? I was gonna ask you that. In applying that, how did it help? Yeah.
It helped me to heal, to get over the situation faster. And because it was a mind state thing. It was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna try to hang on. I'm not going to try to fight this thing. I'm not going to be mad and upset. I'm just going to, bow out gracefully. Okay. It was great fun while it lasted. Unfortunately, things didn't go, the way we would have liked for it to go. Ashay. It is what it is.
And I think
as opposed to trying to hang on and being possessive and trying to force my hand or being mad and bitter, like that bitterness thing too, because that's a big deal. It helps with that too. It's like, okay, well, it didn't work. So ain't no sense of me being mad about it. It is what it is. Life goes on.
You know what?
Get over it.
You know what bitterness is? Bitterness is just, for me, is hurt fermented. That's how I see it. Because meaning when I say that, this is what we tend to do, especially Black women. We save face all day, every day. Okay? And it's killing us and it's not good for our health. One of the things that I recognize, and I think I had told you that I really appreciate that in you saying, I'm hurt. We need to be able to say, I'm hurt. We need to be able to say, I'm still hurting. We need to be able to say, I need time to take care of myself to get over this. Instead of pretending that we are not hurting when these things happen. Because when you pretend, you suppress the hurt and it just sits there and ferments. And then you just end up being a bitter Black woman. Because you're not taking the time to let it out and to heal. That is the problem. We need to stop doing that. And we need to encourage each other to, listen, you hurt, cry. Cry if you have to. Seek help if you have to. But get it out. Get it out. Because then you're walking through this world and then it get to a point, you've been carrying this hurt so long and so bitter for so long that you almost forgot why you're so mad. You don't even know that anymore. You're just mad. But if you really dig up, you're like, you know what? It started when A, B, C, D. So I encourage women that are on this live, if you are hurting and you know this is something that you cannot carry yourself, get a sister circle, find some help, talk to someone. Do not save face. It is not good for your health, and it is not good for the rest of us that have to deal with you.
You funny. Okay, here's another question. Is jealousy a sign of lacking self-confidence?
Ooh. Usually when people say jealous, that people are jealous, people often say they're insecure. So I see that connection you're making. If it's a lack of self-confidence, no.
Yeah.
No.
No?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
And maybe,
so
maybe yes.
So you can have
maybe yes. Maybe yes. And I'm going to give this example. I'm going to give this example for my own life. I'm a mother of a 6-year-old son, right? Whose father has, I don't want to say a living girlfriend, but a girlfriend that lives in the house. So my son technically has a stepmom, okay? My son absolutely adores her, okay? So sometimes he's here and I will say, no, don't do that. And then he'll say, but such and such said. So for me, if I was not confident in my ability as a mother, if I was not confident in the knowing that I am a good mother, I would have an issue with my relationship, my son's relationship with that woman. So yes, to a certain extent, not confidence alone, but knowledge of self plays a big part in jealousy.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm wondering if a person that has like a whole lot of confidence in themselves can also be jealous, easily jealous, or easily taken aback by like I would like take for instance a couple, and maybe the man is attractive, right? And then so he gets a lot of attention from other women.
Yes.
So the woman in that relationship, now if she doesn't have a lot of confidence within herself to know, hey, we together, he likes me, okay, yeah, there's other women around who sees him attractive or what have you, then if she doesn't have a lot of confidence in herself, I would imagine that could open the door for a lot of problems in their relationship, because then she's maybe always questioning, or getting mad when if other women show him attention, or he smiles back, or you know what I'm saying. So I think that the self-confidence part plays a huge role in just know who you are and what you represent and what you're coming to the table with. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's you're absolutely right. That's the self-confidence piece. It's knowledge of self. It's saying, this is who I am, this is what I bring to the table, this is what I'm offering. That person is either going to accept that or not. And if they don't accept it, it doesn't make them a bad person. You do not have to go on a hate campaign against that person. It just wasn't a fit for you. You know what I mean? But there is someone that is willing to accept or that need what you're bringing to the table. I think we gotta get away from, we gotta remind ourselves that we are all human, right? With human experiences. And when we come to the table in relationships, we are bringing all of this with us, right? So sometimes I think we're a little too hard on each other, and there are times that we need to be hard and we're not hard. But I think sometimes we're a little too hard on each other. And it's almost like the measurement, I don't know what measurement we're using. Again, I think it's our own experiences that we're measuring the other individual by, but we have to have patience with each other. Like we really do. And that's what I'm seeing a lack of in our relationship dynamics, the patience piece. We just want to cut off, like, any sign of, flaws, we want to cut off, and not realizing that you are not flawless, though. You would want someone to give you a chance,
Right. Right. Yeah. Now, here was a question that, as far as going back to trust, where was I? I'll find it in a minute, but let me go back to something else. Jealousy is it a mental instability?
Come on. Where are you getting these questions?
I want to know. Curious minds want to know.
If it's a mental instability.
Yeah. I mean, like, does it, because I would think that if you was envy enough at that would cause you to be like real unstable, because especially if it's severe, because that was always on your mind.
Yeah, there's a spectrum. I think there's a spectrum. I think if you're on the extreme end, you may have some mental health issues. You may be mentally unstable. So yes, that could be a factor if it's an extreme, because there are different levels of jealousy. Some people will be jealous to where they just walk out the relationship. That's it. That's their solution. It's like, I'm out, deuces, And then some people will be jealous to where they're facetious. Or some people will be jealous to where they're vicious about it. So they do like little sneaky things instead of just communicating. See, this is the thing, Alqamar. Communication is an issue. It is a huge issue. We refuse to say how we feel. We rather show it instead of say it. So in other words, you hurt me. And instead of me saying, you hurt me, I'm going to ignore your call for a couple of days. And then you're on the other end like, why is this woman ignoring my calls? Or why is this man dodging me? Instead of just picking up the phone and saying, hey, when you did that, it really hurt my feelings, especially if you're in the dating process, because guess what? You guys are getting to know each other. So you have to teach them who you are. You have to tell them who you are. You have to let them know your sensitive areas, your areas that hurt, that easily hurt, those things that are triggers for you. That man don't know unless you tell him. That's the other thing as women. We think men could read minds. I don't know where we got that from. Because I hear women say this all the time. They should know. But guess what? They don't. Most of them, if you're dealing with a man, you will be able to recognize if he knows or not. And if he doesn't, it is your job to teach if you want to be with that person. That's it. We suck at communication. We suck at it. But as far as the mental, go ahead. Go ahead, Alqamar.
Because I'm imagining we can ruin a good thing just by our unwillingness to trust one another. Oh, that was it. That was the question I had. So what if if we our unwillingness to trust somebody else, can we help build trust by offering it to somebody that may not necessarily be trustworthy? Are you following what I'm asking?
Ask it again.
Can we help to build, let's say for instance, somebody we know that they've done things in their past that haven't been trustworthy, right? But we're looking to turn over a new leaf or try anyways with this individual. So instead of always questioning what they do, where they at, where you been, or clocking every move. You actually give them leeway, even though you know they have a tendency to not be trustworthy. Could that help to build trust?
Okay, so it build trust for who? Build trust between the two of you?
Right.
My thing is this, if you
Or do you just be like, you know what, you've been a dirty dog. I know you a dirty dog. I don't trust you. I'm out of here.
okay, so what just came to my mind is this, right? So I work in foster care, right? So we might have teenagers when we call a person to take a child into their home as a foster parent. We give them the history of that child, okay? So there are some things that, let's say the child is a child that steals, okay? A lot. That's been some history where they've stolen maybe a car or whatever. You let that parent know.
Right.
The reason why you're letting them know is because they then decide whether I am still willing to parent and love on and nurture this child, or they could decide not to. In other words, they have the knowledge. So when the child comes into the home now, and the child steals, okay? The parent is not completely shocked because we already let you know up front the child steals, right? So the reason why I use that example is to say, if you know that person's history and you're still willing to try with them, then try with them. You shouldn't have to bring up, well, I'm calling you all the time because in the past you made the decision to give it a try. So you have to stick it out. And yes, if you do that, you can begin to build trust if both parties are on the same page as far as turning over a new leaf. One person can be full 100% in and turning over a new leaf, and the other person is only 50% in. But yes, you can build something new despite each other's past. You can. It's possible.
Yeah, because I'm wondering, it goes back to the age-old question, can people change? Do people change? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, how do you give them space to do that if you're not allowing them the ability to change? Or not, you know what I'm saying? But then I know it's a touchy, and it's a touchy situation because you don't want to give so much leeway that you become foolish.
And that's what undamaged. You become undamaged.
Right.
Yep. That's what I was going to say.
And and they damage. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, well, I heard, I know that you cheated on your wife in your bed. Your ex-wife, you had another woman in the bed. Right. And so, you know what I'm saying? I'm going leave now with this woman in my house, and I trust you not to do that with me. So, you know what I'm saying? But I'm wondering, where do we build from that? As opposed to just throwing our hands up and walking away. Or do we attempt to build from that? I don't know. I'm just throwing questions out there. I don't know, guys.
That's kind of a hard one. For me, for myself, if someone, because if in the dating process, which I see the dating process in getting to know each other, in that process, I am like, when you talk about your ex, I want to know what happened. What happened that you guys are no longer together. If it's a thing where you say, well, I was constantly cheating on her, that's information you're giving me. You're not withholding that information, correct? So then now it is up to me. Now to me, in my mind, the ball is in my court. If I want to continue with this relationship that we have, it's on me, right? It's really whether that person decides to change or not, it's really what I am willing to let into my space. So you have to be saying, now you could have a conversation with that person and be like, yeah, now I could tell the difference. There are people who have done stuff and they're remorseful about it, right? And they're like, man, if I could take that back, they'll tell you that. But then there are those where it's like, yeah, I mean, I cheated and had separate. That's where you have to tune in and be like, I don't know about that. You might still got that still you might still need to work through that. But there are people who's like, I was young, I was dumb, we got married young, and I just didn't know what being a man was all about. There is a difference. So if you one of those and they're trying to start over, it's up to you if you want to give them a chance or not.
Brittany made a good point. She said, I can't rebuild with someone who has proven to be untrustworthy several times. So that's a good point. It's like if you got a pattern, you got a pattern and a history of doing this over and over and over again, and here I come. And now I think I'm going to change, you know what I'm saying, you and make you this upright person again. Then, especially when we know how repetition, it's a hard thing to break.
Yeah.
Any patterns are hard to break.
But you know what, Alqamar, what Brittany said, the truth is that's a part of knowing yourself, Brittany. You have to know what you can deal with and what you can. But what we have to be careful of is judging the sister who can deal with somebody like that, or judging the brother who can deal with somebody like that, because maybe they have what it takes to actually deal with someone like that. You may not within yourself, and you may say, nah, it's not something I'm willing to put up with or I can put up with. That's again self-knowledge. You gotta know yourself and be honest about it. It doesn't make you a bad person, and it doesn't make the other person that can put up with it a bad person either. We just have to respect each other.
But is it healthy?
Huh?
But is it healthy?
Healthy? You
know what I'm saying? It's one thing to put up with it. We all can put up with it, but is it healthy to do?
Good point.
Is that encouraging? Should we encourage that type of behavior for somebody to put up with?
No, we should not encourage that type of behavior. But we also should not judge people because we all have our own journeys. Some people, it takes longer for them to even get to the point where they're strong enough within themselves to get to where Brittany's at and saying, nah, that's not something I'm willing to put up with, right? You have to allow them their journey. You know what I'm saying? That's where it goes back to the patience. It's not, you should encourage them to not want that for themselves. I'm not talking about encouraging it at all, Alqamar. I'm just saying that person may not be where you're at. You know what I mean? It's like you and I having the earlier conversation where you were like, yeah, when I had the conversation with you, it helped me to kind of process it a little bit more. But I agree, you have to look at patterns in people's history as well. And if it's not something you are willing to subject yourself to, by the way, some women I've heard even say, I'm not going to put myself in that situation because I might cut somebody's tires. Then you know what, sweetie? Do not subject yourself to that situation because we don't do jail visits. We don't do visits at prisons. So I want you to know thyself and stay away from those type of situations. That's a part of it. But no, we should not encourage that, Alqamar. I totally hear you on that one.
Yeah, because that gets down into the self-esteem too now, because when we start to accept abuse, because that's what it is. When we start accepting abuse over and over and over again, then our self-esteem comes into play. And that's how a man's self-esteem can be tarnished.
You cannot be willing to build someone at the expense of destroying yourself.
Yes, good teaching.
You cannot
repeat that, please.
You cannot be willing to rebuild someone at the expense of destroying yourself. You cannot, and you should not. You should
give me some hearts. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that was well said.
Yeah,
too.
But as women,
and that's what we do.
I was going to say that as women,
that's what we do.
Ooh, we do that. We do that so well. No one does it better than a woman. No. We got that covered because we're always putting others before ourselves. We really don't know how to self-care. And a part of self-care is I am not willing to destroy me just to rebuild you. It's not going to happen. And be unapologetic about it.
Right.
You don't have to apologize for that as a woman. No, take care of you, please. And for men too. You should not have to subject yourself to a situation where a woman is dishonest and disloyal and she's not reciprocating the same things that you're giving out, you know, just because, oh, well, she's hurt and she's in pain. Then you know what? Leave her to the professionals. Because if you don't have the strength to do it, to help her build, you end up destroying yourself. And then you're no good to the rest of us women.
And you know what else happens too? I think we don't take into consideration that we help to encourage others to do better. Because if I find that if you have a good somebody in your life and you mess over them and they leave you, normally the regret sets in. Mm-hmm. You will regret that. So anybody with a little bit of conscience, is going to have feelings of regret. And I think when the person has enough esteem and confidence to say, I ain't dealing with this, I'm out. Now what you do is you force that other individual to be better the next go round. And like, well, you know what? I remember when I did this and that to this other woman, and she was a good woman, or he was a good man, and I did this and dogged them out, and they rolled out. I don't want that to happen no more. So, you know, I better not do that again. Right. As opposed to accepting that damaging stuff, and the person never learns that what they're doing is harmful and hurtful. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. So it was like Wasita is saying, karma. So someone, Shu just made a point, and I hear this a lot from women. He says, I hope you're a he, Shu, but he says, and after you rebuild that person, they move on to someone else. Oh, boy, is that a big issue for women. When we say that, because I see it all the time where women are like, oh, now he want to be a good guy? Because with the other woman now, he's now become a family man. He's not running the streets anymore. And it's like, really? Now? You couldn't get it together when you were with me? I don't really get caught up in that. And the reason why is this. Connectivity, right? Being connected to everyone in the community. Okay? Thanks, Shu. Shu said he's a man. Being connected to everyone in the community. Alqamar, if I'm with someone and say I don't know you, and him being with me, his experiences with me, he moves on and it makes him a better man, it's better for the community. Period. Period.
See,
we need to start thinking collectively. And stop we're too selfish with stuff. It's not that it's not that you are, this isn't build a man. He's not your investment. He is not your investment for you to even make a statement like, oh, after I don't put in all of that and rebuild. Rebuilding is not an investment. You're rebuilding because you love enough, and that's the love we're talking about, and you care enough to see that person whole. Period. Love is a holistic approach. Now, whether after you do all of that with that person and help them build, that the two of you guys go your separate ways, you could be the one going your separate way. And then that person have no choice but to move on. If that person, and I hope that person's experience with me makes them a better person. Because I don't want any other woman out there to experience that hurt. Why would I? Why would you want someone that was crappy to you go around the place being crappy to everybody else? That's what destroys the village. Period.
Good teaching. I like that. Good teaching. Makes sense to me. You know, we passed our hour, our Empower Hour. That hour can't. Now, y'all want us to keep going? Because, you know, we're Hanifah on her. This is her area. So you see me, right? I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, I mean, we could still have the conversation. We're on the live, so it's up to you. If you have something to do, if they want to continue, that's fine. If not, I'm good either way. But it is an interesting conversation. We can go through the comments though before we chime on.
Yes. Tiffany says we don't even go that far in thought, though. It's the hurt that's revealed first. But that's a great point to learn now to be your greatest move forward after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do, and it starts with self. We have a lot of self work to do. And even before we introduce the relationship aspect of it, you know, it's very important. And I'm big on that with women. And you know, you and I are friends, so you know, I try not to be biased in conversation with, you know, with women that are, yeah, right, Wasita, it's snowing, so keep going. I like that. Yeah, she has a point. It's not snowing for everyone though, but yeah. Yeah, I'm very big on not being biased in conversation with women, because from my observation, and I'm going to say we, because I'm a part of this community, you know, as women, we have a lot of healing to do, and a lot of time we're contributing to the chaos that we are finding ourselves in. You know, we are contributing to it. Because we have these degrees of hurt, because we hurt the most in the relationship, or because somebody hurt us, we think we're the only person hurting in the relationship. And I'm going to say that again. Because that person hurt us, we assume we're the only person hurting in the relationship, and it's usually not true.
Good point.
It's usually not
true.
Hurt
people.
Yeah.
Hurt people.
And you cannot take a person through healing until they're ready. So you cannot take a person through that healing process until they're ready. So it makes no sense for you to stick around damaging yourself, trying to walk that person through the healing process, and they're kicking and screaming. They are not ready. You're going to have to let it go.
That's like somebody who always lashes out at you or snaps at you or things of that nature, and they're hurting.
Yes,
they're hurting. That anger, that fierce anger that's coming from them is coming from somewhere. They're using you as the bouncing
there
board.
You go.
You know?
Yeah.
And so they're lashing out on you, calling you names, and you know what I'm saying, disrespecting, beating you up, and all that kind of stuff.
So much misdirected anger. So much anger, you know. And we hear a lot of that with women. Like you hear men say, wait, did she grow up with her father? Did she come from a single parent household? That we usually go there immediately with the woman. And now of late, I've been questioning, how has your relationship been with your mother? And I found a lot of black men lie about that. And the reason why I say that is because there's this sense of loyalty to the because I always say this, we have a matriarchal community. Not that it should be that way, but it is that way. You know, when I say that, I mean, we have a lot of single woman headed households, period. So there's a loyalty that's there, because how am I going to talk bad about the woman that I watch struggle to feed and shelter me? How? But the reality is, while she was feeding and sheltering me, she was also tearing me down. She was not building me up. She was abusing me physically. I'm talking about men on this, right? So there's a conflict now of emotion around mother, right? But it's like I hate her, but I can't really sit her out openly. Not in the black community. No, we don't hate our mothers. We're not supposed to. All these single mothers, how dare you hate your mother after all the struggling she's done? So it's a tricky thing, but I'm finding more and more a lot of men out here have issues with their mothers. So then they bring it in relationship, and it's not about you. It's misdirected anger because they don't feel they have the right to direct the anger towards the person that it's really for.
Wow, Hanifah.
That's my observation from conversations with multiple people. It's a real thing.
That's a Pandora's box. Not to mention, I know a lot of men, you know, hear it, when it says, the way they treat your mother is the way that your man's supposed to treat you. And if a man treats his mother good, it's a good indication that he'll treat you good. So if we hear this, the brothers hear this too. So it maybe they're thinking in the back of their mind, well, I gotta show her that I have a good relationship with my mother, so she can then think I'll be a good man to her,
So you're saying men pretty much do the same thing that a lot of us women do, where we have and again, media I think projects this onto us as well. And a lot of media is Eurocentric, right? It doesn't apply to the Black woman, okay? But we take it in, we consume it, we eat it up, and it becomes our identity, right? We think this is who we're supposed to be. And so we try to become these women, right? And we think by becoming this type of woman, that's what's going to get us locked down as wives, right? And then when it doesn't happen, it leads into depression because you don't put in all that work and you don't did all these things that you think you're supposed to do, that you were told, by the way, not think. You were told you're supposed to do, right? And now you're mad and you're depressed because it's like you assume that one size fit all. Even the idea of romance for a lot of Black women is really Eurocentric.
Roman, the first 5 letters in the word romance.
Right. Rome
is Roman.
But a lot of and so you're bringing all of that into a relationship with a Black man, right? And you're like, well, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. I need you to do this. Men do it too. We think that one size fits all. It does not. It does not. You have to talk to that person. You have to get to know that person. You got to get to know their likes and dislikes. That last brother you were with may have liked his neck massage every night he came home from work. This new brother you with don't care about that. You know what I mean? You really don't care about it. Or this brother here might like you buying like new things. This other brother here is satisfied with you just having a meal made, being that you're the first one home. That's how he understands love. So it's you learning, I like to say, the love languages. What is your partner's love language? And speaking it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing we don't do. We don't share what. So we'll go and we'll gripe to our girlfriends. And I'm speaking a lot from a woman's perspective because that's the perspective I know best. And so I'm not trying to offend anybody out there, sisters or brothers. It's just that, I'm just speaking from a woman's perspective. And so we'll go to our girlfriends and complain about what he didn't do for us, as opposed to going to him. And like, this is what I like. This is what I prefer. This is what I don't. That communication again. So we don't have those conversations. We'll just go and complain to a third party about what he is or is not doing.
And the attitude is, he's a grown man. He should know. we got to drop that. We have to drop that because we cannot in one breath say our brothers have a lot of healing to do and a lot of maturing to do. We can't say that and then in the same breath say, I shouldn't have to teach you this. It makes no sense. You're literally saying in one breath, they don't really know. And then in the other breath, you're saying, well, they should know.
You should
but
know.
They don't.
But you should know.
They don't.
Right.
So we shouldn't go into a relationship assuming. We should have, like you say, communication. That's a big thing that's missing. And not just communication, effective communication.
Right. And I think we don't recognize that helps to foster and build strong relationships. I think if we did, we would do more of it. I think if we really sat down and had hard conversations, you know what I'm saying? And that we would understand that actually strengthens our relationships as opposed to not doing that. And you know what I'm saying? And having, being combative, and I think that's another thing that we should touch on, because You know what I'm noticing here lately? I'm noticing here lately that in a lot of instances on both sides, we don't give each other enough room to express ourselves or the other person to express themselves, especially in times of anger and frustration. I see a lot of situations where a man might be angry and he's trying to get something out and the woman talks over him. And she don't, she got to get her point across. And next thing you know, the hollering goes back and forth. And you know what I'm saying? As opposed to, I have a little rule of thumb that I do. And it's like if I know that somebody is really upset and really has something that they want to get off their chest at me, I allow that to happen and allow them to talk, even if what they're saying to me is burning like crazy. And I got all this stuff welled up in me that I want to lash back out and say. You know what I'm saying? I find that it's best to let people get what's in their chest off their chest, as opposed to trying to stop that from happening. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. You talk about disagreements, and as you're speaking, I'm like, you know what? Disagreements should not be about winning.
Right.
They should not be about
hearing.
And
even when they angry, because I think that's the worst time to try to stop somebody from expressing themselves. It's when they really are angry and upset and really want to get it out. So I think, to allow them to get it all out. And then if you have something to say in rebuttal or rejection or even in agreements, you should then allow yourself to speak. That's just something that I find that is helpful for me, as opposed to just trying to talk over somebody.
I was having a
conversation
with someone, and he made a point to me to say, oftentimes men do express themselves to us, to women. It's just not what we want to hear a lot of times. So it's like, that's it? Yeah, sometimes that is it. You know what I mean? So it's really understanding each other, because here's the thing. We understand each other, We really do. We just refuse to accept what we know about each other. So what happens is we both come in trying to change those things about each other. If it's not detrimental to the relationship and you can figure out a way for the relationship to work and it's not toxic, listen, leave it alone. In other words, when I say that, it's like, okay, women know we're long-winded. I mean, men know that, okay? They know it takes us highways and back streets to get to our point, whereby they take a jet.
Right.
They're there.
Right.
Okay? They take a straight jet there and it's like, boom, that's it. We just go round and round, and they're looking at us like, you couldn't just say that from the beginning? No, it's because we're processing while we're talking to them. Men don't do all of that. We're wired differently, but that's my thing. We have this knowledge about our differences, Alqamar. Why don't we apply it?
Ego.
Ego and wanting to mold each other into what we want the other person to be, instead of accepting who they are, which is arrogant to me. So it is ego. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let me see what else. The comment section. Tiffany says, right, love languages, just getting to know that person a little more. Yeah, somebody said something else too. Oh, Wasita was saying, as long as we are honest with one another, that's the key. You know what I'm saying? Now, Shu, who is a man, says, our listening skills aren't as good as our talking skills. I completely agree. Most of us listen with the intent to respond. We're not really listening. We listen, and it's like, for me, what I'm learning is like, especially if I'm on the phone and somebody's going, if I have to get something and jot down notes so that I could come back to them, because you don't really want to, because I'm still like practicing, because the way my mind is set up, I tend to like jump on certain points. when someone is speaking, and then that derails the conversation. And it's something I'm working on, because I'm learning that you really just have to let people go. Let them go until they finish. You know? So I agree. A lot of us don't, we need better listening skills. We're talking about communication. Listening is a part of that too. That's a big part of communication.
Because it's pent up. It becomes pent up. If you never allow that other person to get off their chest, even if how they're expressing themselves, and see that's what we get caught up with a lot too. It's like, why are you hollering at me? Or, you cursing at me. Like, I'll take a good example. Like, my daughter, I'm a grandma now. And my grandmother's, her father, they don't always be on the same term, him and my daughter, right? And now it's easy for me to jump on my daughter's side and take her side, and when they have their disagreements or what have you, that's easy. That's my daughter. You know what I'm saying? My loyalty and onus and all that stuff comes into play. But there has been instances where he will call me raging upset about my daughter in my ear. Hollering, screaming, cursing, all that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I will allow that young man to get it off his chest. I may not agree with what he's saying. I may not even like how he's saying it, but I know and I understand that it's important for that young man to get what he got in his chest off. And if he felt that he could call me with it, you know what I'm saying? And then once he gets it all, and I ask, are you finished? And then I commence to go on into a discussion and a conversation with him about what he had just shared with me. As opposed to, why are you calling me with this? Get off my phone, and now we going back and forth, and nothing gets accomplished. We both angry and upset. He wound up hanging up on me or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? The situation escalates. I think that it's a lot of I think it's a lot of benefit in allowing somebody to express themselves, even when you don't like the way they're doing it.
Or even if you don't agree with what they're saying. Even if you don't agree with what they're saying or how they're saying it, you gotta allow that space for them to express themselves. Because the reality is that the more you do that, the better the communication between the two of you guys are going to become. Because what you're doing is creating a safe space for that person to be themselves. You know what I mean?
Right.
In communicating with you.
Now, I will say this, because the first thing I'll do is I'll share, after he's expressed himself, I'll share how all the profanity made me feel. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that. I don't like a lot of profanity and vulgar, in communication. I don't think it's necessary. I think we are intelligent beings. We don't need to use that kind of language. That's just me. But even and still in all that, now I don't have to accept that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that you just accept however somebody talks to you, but I'm just saying once they finish, you now have the opportunity to share with them how that makes you feel.
Yeah, and again, I like what you just said, because that should come after. That should come after, and that's what I mean by the next time that person communicates with you, it will look differently. Because now it's noted that, okay, when I call her the next time to complain, let me watch my language. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to hear in the communication the apologies when they do slip. You know what I mean? Because you allowed them to do it the last time, but you also said, hey, I'm cool with you calling me and everything, but can you ease up on the profanity? Because I think we should be able to communicate without all of that. And if they're okay with that, the next time they're okay with calling you, because you didn't cut them off and say, yo, if you're going to be cursing, I'm going to hang up on you. You allow them that. So the next go round, and that's the patience I'm talking about. When they come, you'll see they'll slip and they'll curse and be like, oh, I'm sorry, Miss Alqamar, and they'll, because you've allowed that, you've created that space for that to happen.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, Rosita is calling us Teresa, Mother Teresa.
Oh, always calling me Mother Teresa.
Wasita, Wasita is fire. I swear. I'm fire too, but I had to learn to manage my fire.
That's right.
As a woman, I had to learn to manage my fire, because it's a serious thing, because you have to look at what you want in life, because I will burn the entire place down with the level of fire I have, and I'm aware of that. So for me, the practice of managing my fire is something that happens in solidarity, like in my silent time with myself, and also around being around people. And it took me a long time to give men an ear. You know what I mean? Because I grew up in a single parent home. There was no example of giving an ear to a man. The voices I heard, the strong, loud voices, have always been women. And so I am very opinionated. I am going to state my opinion. So it took me really stepping back and listening to men for me to get to the place where I'm like, you know what? Most of the times men just need to be heard. They live in a world where, we talk about double standards. It's a real thing for them as well. And the places to go for healing, and the places to go to let their hair down, and they don't have much of that. They really don't. Because men are not in men's circles crying. We're doing that. We're getting it out. I can call you tomorrow and just boo-hoo cry, and we can gather the sisters. We can catch Wasita and all kind of other women, and we can come together and create this like healing circle. And where are men going? Where are they going when they hurt? Most of the times they're coming to us.
Yeah.
Most of the times they're coming to us, and we.
Shu.
And we.
Wait a minute. Shu said he waiting to jump in.
No.
Did somebody else want to come on the screen?
No, he was saying that in communication, we be just waiting to jump in.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
Now, if somebody else wanted to join the conversation with Hanifah, I'm willing to jump on and listen. Oh, what? I'm just saying, if somebody else was out there who wanted to jump on, I'll jump on.
Yeah, that's fine. You can come in. That's cool. Thanks, Alqamar. But just let us know if you want to come in, and then Alqamar can come off, and then I can try to get you in. I could always bring you back in, Alqamar, before we end out. Yeah, so let us know if you guys want to come in, and I'll just bring you in, and we can continue the conversation.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to building relationships. I think, if we want to tear down relationships, then we can keep doing what we're doing and, going on at each other's throat and all that stuff. But if we're looking to build up relationships, I think it's time to, we have to do something different. Yeah.
And as I said, if you are looking at your life as a woman and you know what you want, and one of the things on the list is that you do want companionship, okay? You do want, you're going to have to start to take some responsibility in some of your failed relationships, okay? What your contribution was, and start fixing those things within yourself. There's no shame in saying, I don't want to be alone. I want to be in a good, healthy relationship though. You know what I mean? I'm not going to, sacrifice that just so that I don't be alone. I want to be in a relationship, but I want it to be in a holistic, not toxic, healthy relationship. That's what I want. It ain't just, I just want to be with someone, and we got to be careful. Now, if that's what you want, you have to become that. You have to become that. That's the issue. Most of us are talking about the things we want, and we're not even those things.
Yeah.
You want a rich man.
That's true.
You ain't even rich.
That's true.
So, what you sound like when you say, I want a rich man? You want a rich man to take care of you, period. That's your push right there. You're not saying I want someone that's bringing something financially to the table as much as I'm bringing something financially. You know what I mean? You're saying I want somebody that's honest, but you're dishonest as all get up. Okay, I want somebody that's, what else? What else do we say? That's loyal. But you don't even know the definition of loyalty. So you cannot demand something from someone that you yourself have not even become. It is unfair. It's unfair. So we got to be careful with that as well, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, Tiffany says men don't have it as easy as us women do. That's why I feel we all can use a little counseling. Agreed. And Shu says,
yeah, and we blame each other a lot. We blame the other a lot.
how can we
and
get
I
away
think that's
from that?
more
How can we fix that out?
Self going into, again, to owning up and accepting responsibility for what you bring to the table, and not always looking outside of yourself and pointing the finger at other people's faults and the things that they're doing that's not up to par of how you think they should be doing it. I think again, that's, you can't get away from that self observation, that knowing, that knowledge of self, understanding who you are. No matter what, in every facet of our lives, in every genre of our lives, it will affect us drastically until we get back to knowing who we are.
Yeah,
really. Relationships is no different.
There are situations, though, Alqamar, where that person did hurt, like a good man or a good woman can find themselves in a situation where that person really wasn't ready to be with a good man or a good woman, and they actually are the ones that did the hurt. You find yourselves, some people find themselves in those situations, but if you are finding yourself in those type of situations over and over and over, the common denominator here is you.
Common denominator.
You have to address that. Now, if it's one time and you want to cry and say, I was so good to that person, they hurt me, I'll give you that. But 3 and 4 times, come, we're gonna have to talk. Let's go on a vacation, so we can sit down and talk about this. You know what I mean? And again, it comes back to accountability. We have to hold each other accountable. We have to do it. People's lives are dependent on our healing.
That's right. And our children are following right behind our footsteps.
This is a real thing. People's lives are dependent on our healing. Because even as Black people, we talk about revolution. I don't want no person sick in their mind fighting in no revolution with me, because you will sell me out. You see what I'm saying? Because you already have your own issues with self. Because if you're looking in the mirror as a Black woman and you can't love you cannot love a Black man. You can't love Black people. So for me, healing, that's why you always hear me talk about it. It is a big part of revolution, because revolution starts within us all first. Before there's any outward revolution, before there's any outward liberation, there's one that has to take place within first. Because that is where our universe is, so yeah.
Yeah, we see it all the time. I mean, you can just watch, even just, so social media is a replica, a small replica of the world currently, and how we beat each other up with our words, we tear each other down, so much pessimism, you can be having a, beautiful anger, frustration, a lot of that is currently going on. I understand why. I mean, there's a lot to be angry about. It really is. But I think that we get to a point we stuck right there. It's no solution. A lot of times the solutions aren't there. It's just that, again, pointing that finger out. They did this to me. Oh, I can't stand them. I hate them, their guts, and da 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 da. And I'm gonna take it out on you. So if you say something that I disagree with or I don't like, well, F you, you stupid MF. And you know what I'm saying?
So how much do you think the current climate and the current issues that are and challenges that our people are facing, how much do you think that is contributing to the breakdown in our relationships?
Oh, that's it. That's it. That is that is the breakdown in our relationships. Yeah, we don't. How Neely Fuller said, if you don't understand racism and white supremacy and how it works, everything else you think you understand will only confuse you. That's true. It's true. If we don't understand the root causes of why we do what we do and why we react and behave the way we do, then we won't ever understand it enough to solve the problem. Because we'll always be looking, it's a circle to be around in a circle. We round the mulberry bush, around and around the merry-go-round without ever coming to conclusions or solutions, because we never got to the root of why we behave the way we do.
Right. Right.
And a lot of it, we are out of our natural minds. It's just real.
Mm-hmm.
We're out of our minds. Our normal culture, our normal state of existence, our normal, how we, when you stop to think about actually, there was at one point in our history, not in our lifetimes, of course, and probably not in our grandmother, great-grandmother, we got to go back some, but it was in our history that there was not even a such thing as a prison. You think about that. Really, stop to think about that. How was life then for those at one point if there was not even a need for a prison? Really, just that one thought, you know what I'm saying? To now look at us. Lock them up. Have, you know what I'm saying, millions of people in jail. What happened? What happened? What happened between then and now? You know what I'm saying? And until we really stop to really get to the root causes and the understanding of why we are the way we are today in 2018, we won't ever get to back to any normalcy or sanity.
And the challenges that we're both facing. Because when you were speaking, I thought of the whole feminist movement, and how it is Black women have kind of jumped on that bandwagon. And even some people would mistake me for a feminist, and I'm not. I don't even, yeah. But what I am also careful of doing, and I'm still working on that part of me, is with men in what feminism can do to, we can't afford to have this happen, just so you know. It makes our Black men our enemy. Because we're saying that they benefit from the system of patriarchy, right? And that could be possibly true, but they are not the ones at the top of that. You will find a white male all day, every day. And we need to recognize that. So, because if you are of the mindset that the Black man is the enemy, that's the beginning of the breakdown of the family. And so, again, it goes back to understanding each other's struggles. I think Black men need to understand Black women's struggle in this world, and we also need to understand our men's struggle in this world when we're coming together and call ourselves trying to be in relationships as Black people. When we're talking about Black love and making that work, that's a big part of it as well, is acknowledging that you are not my enemy. You know what I mean? You are not my enemy.
Right.
My enemy, the real enemy, is propping you up as my enemy. But I know who's really behind this. So what am I going to do? Am I going to fight a prop, or I'm going to go after the person that's propping this up?
Good teaching.
And for a lot of Black women, we're fighting props. For us Black women, we're fighting props. Our men are not our enemy. And we need to get that.
Our men too.
Yeah, we need to get that. And we need to understand that. And we need to understand history. And we need to understand strategy. We need to understand propaganda. All of this and all of this has to become a part of how we relate to each other. It does. It goes deeper than just you cute and your muscles big and your lips are nice and thick and juicy, and them eyes are pretty, and your physique and you have a nice big butt and you're just voluptuous and it got to be beyond that. We pass that as Black people. And again, people's lives are dependent on us getting it together. How long are we going to fail at this relationship thing? How long? Because our babies, babies are suffering because of it. And beyond that, when are we going to get past, okay, a relationship don't work. You see it trickle over to where you have a Black woman and a Black man that cannot even successfully co-parent. How? What is wrong? We got to figure this out because our babies are watching and these babies are going to become adults. And certain pathologies we need to dismantle. We need to eliminate immediately. It cannot go on to another generation because they're going to do relationship the same way we did it because we couldn't get it together. We got to figure it out. This is beyond physical. We can't get caught up in what people drive in and all that stuff anymore. It's beyond this. This is building.
That's right.
We got to be about building.
Yeah, because right now we on a destructive pattern. We on a destructive road, and like you said, we don't realize we're fighting the props.
Yeah,
we're fighting the props, and the whiz that's behind the curtain is getting away scot clean.
Yes.
And anybody who attempts to point out the whiz behind the curtain, we don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
We don't want to hear that either, and it's a lot behind that too, because usually the ones behind the curtains are your boss, are the ones who are giving you the checks every month, are the ones that's feeding you, with dependents. We depending our livelihood, food, clothing, and shelter. Our livelihood is dependent on these people that we pointing out behind the Iron Curtain. And so, and a lot of us, our worldview is so narrow that we couldn't even fathom or imagine what's going on behind the curtain. And so we don't. And so all we see is what's in front of us. And he's not doing that. He did this to me. Ain't nobody did that to you.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I don't want to dismiss legit hurt though, Alqamar. You know what I mean? Because they are legit, legitimately hurt people who have really been hurt by people that look like them. That's like a real thing.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
But again, you have to go deeper than, he hurt me. We got to go beyond that. And I think that's
into the why.
Yeah, this is the issue that we're having, is that we're kind of doing this thing surface level and it's not working for us. Mm-hmm. It's not working for us. A lot of us do not want to get our hands dirty with the digging that's required. We don't.
Right.
We want to
That's
solve.
It's easier. It's easier to see that the little knucklehead boy around the corner broke into your car and sent him to jail. That's the easy route out. But to understand that little boy around the corner comes from a abusive home, that the parent, you know what I'm saying, that you know what I'm saying, that they going through a whole lot and that's all they know to do. And they did, you know what I'm saying? So we don't go into the understanding as to why these behavior patterns take root. And then, so just lock them up into the same system that is built to destroy us, as opposed to, well, how do we get this young man and save his life and sow some seeds of love and support into him so he can understand that he's bigger and his life is much more than being a carjacker. And how do we do that as a community as opposed to calling 911 and lock this little Negro up? You know what I'm saying? The difference in that, is the why, the behavior, that to fix the patterns, the destructive patterns. And so we can be healed, going back to that word healed, as opposed to putting a Band-Aid on the issue and it grows and it gets a lot worse.
And you know what's interesting? I think that we don't even factor in that a lot of us are stunted, like as far as our growth, as far as our development, just as men and women, right? And I'm looking at, and this might be a little young, but I'm looking at my 6-year-old. Okay, so I have a 10-year-old. Wait, is 10 now? Is he 10? Okay, so I have a 10-year-old godson, right? And sometimes he would come and he would talk about his little girlfriends in school, right? So the reality is, like, when you look at like 10-year-olds and how they do the whole girlfriend boyfriend thing, we can go even younger. I mean, we could go a little older, teenagers, right? And we see how they try to do the whole relationship thing. I think what we don't put into perspective is that there are a lot of people who are 16-year-olds trapped in 30-year-old bodies. Okay? And we're expecting them to do relationship like 30 and 35-year-olds. We don't put that into perspective. And also women, you know, there's people in general, but I'm saying men, or a woman who is just stuck at 12, you know, like people deal with real life trauma and experiences, and they never really face them and sort them out and heal from them. And so now they're adults, right? And they're trying to do this relationship thing. And we're looking at, and you know what we say? Oh, you just need to grow up, you know? Well, they were until somebody interrupted that, or somebody.
How? How do they grow up?
So we can see that a lot of times. Did you hear a woman say all the time, like they just need to grow up, or you know? And there is a point as adults we have to take responsibility for our actions. So if you know there's something, because we know when we're jacked up, Alqamar, we know. Get some help. Get some help. So, because it's expected for you to take care of you at that point as an adult.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yes, you can acknowledge that this happened to you, but now what happens, you know, what you do with it is totally up to you now. But sometimes people need help in figuring that out.
Well, like Wasita's just said, that's because most of us go to work, go home, and never get into the community or giving back. Yes, that's a good point she brought up as to why the slums are the slums and why the ghettos look the way they do. It's like those who do have that understanding do have a better level of understanding and how to live a more constructive and productive life. When they get that information, they gone. Yeah. Shit, they gone. And so they leave those in the hood who don't have that level of understanding to fend for themselves. As opposed to going, you know what, each one reach one, or go on and give back and pull up, and you know what I'm saying, we don't, and then what else we do, we point the finger. You know, it's like, look at them over there. You know, they you know, I ain't going over there. I ain't there. The same community that you once grew up in. Yes. The same community that nourished you and nurtured you when you was little. You know what I'm saying? You now turn your back on and shame and look down upon those people who just need an extra hand or need some advice or an encouragement. The stuff that you was able to get that they weren't able to get. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And we shun them. Yeah. And then our neighborhoods look a mess and we wonder why. Yeah. We wait for somebody else to fix the problem.
Yeah, Khadidra just chimed in and said, yes, we have to do the work to heal so we can grow. And that's what it's all about. It's growing. And sometimes you meet someone who is willing to go through that healing process with you and grow with you. Sometimes, you know, and sometimes you just don't. You meet people and they really don't have the tools, you know, to kind of equip you, to help you through that process in order for you to grow. But as far as the community stuff, that's why for me, it's very, I am someone that grew up in the hood most of my life. Well, all my life. Well, most of my life. Most of my,
me too.
My childhood. What happens to me is the level of empathy I tend to have for people from those areas. It's very hard for me to judge because I know what is producing that type of behavior. I know. I also know that a lot the what we call the hood, or these neighborhoods that we speak of, are usually abandoned by the very people that can actually make them probably better. And when I say that, it's because we leave out of them. We quote unquote make it out and we never look back. We don't even have conversations with kids that are still there. We're not trying to help the parents, single parents, just like how our households were. You know, we know what that's all about. And those of us that know and we have been able to heal from certain experiences from those communities, and certain traumas that we've experienced, we know that it's a for real struggle. We know what that looks like, right? But it's almost like we get to a certain point in life and then it's like, look at them. They need to figure it out. To assume that because you got out, okay? And if you look at your life, you had some help along the way. If you're really honest. You had some help along the way. So guess what? You know what happens to those kids that didn't have the help that were exposed to the help that you were exposed to along the way. I know for myself, a basketball coach is what completely shifted my life. Completely. Completely. Now, I have always been the person that studies and reads, and I always had that characteristic about me, that personality. Like even in the hood, I was always organizing whatever with these little kids. I thought they were little kids. They were just like 2 years younger than me. But I always had that personality, right? But it wasn't until I met my coach where it shifted completely. And I also had to be taken out of that environment. That's a big part of it. We're trying to have these children or these young people change while remaining in those environments. Those temptations are there constantly. We're bringing them out, exposing them, but they're going back home. Your voice is not the loudest voice. Pookie and them on the corner is the loudest voice in their head. That's just the truth, you know?
Good teaching.
So I agree with you in how we just don't even want to like breathe on people. But for me, I'm like, I know for me, and this is like, I'm about to be a little bit transparent here. I know for me, I used to have a level of shame. So, because for me, when I see people that would act a certain way or they don't want to progress, I used to experience some shame within my own self. You know what I mean? Where it's like, why can't we get it together? And it used to make me angry at those people because but now I realize that it was a reminder of where I came from. You know what I mean? I realize that now. I didn't want to be reminded of it. So when I would see people who I would be angry at them, like, figure it out.
Heavy. That's heavy. I think about the people like you on the subway or bus. And you ride through, they were in the little children get on and they cutting up acting a fool. And we tend to feel a little shame about that.
Yeah.
Wow, Hanifah, that's interesting.
We used to do it too when we were little, though. We were those little people that people were looking at. You know what I mean? So I had to really, I had to deal with that within myself, and to the point now where I could use my experience and not have to be ashamed of it, right? But use that experience to say, aha, I know exactly where you're at. And I also know what's possible for you. You know what I mean? Instead of being angry at them because of my own shame. That's personal. That shame is personal. It has nothing to do with them.
Wow. I think that's why that would make sense as to why we disconnect then.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot
why
of us
we
do
disconnect from those communities and those people.
Yes.
It's because we don't want to deal with and when we were once there.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to deal with the shame that comes with that. That's a fascinating thought.
Yeah.
I
know for a fact
it's 3:57.
Oh Lord, okay. So we gotta wrap up. We've been on for a while, and I hope everyone shares. Please share it. You know, the live. If we ever have a situation where it snows, we probably would do this again. Like the Empower Our page so you can get the alerts of when we go live.
Please like our page.
Yes.
Our goal is to get the word out. And my personal goal is to do some work with Dr. Boyce Watkins. And so if anybody out there knows Boyce Watkins personally and know how to reach him, tell him, that's my name right there. Tell him Alqamar Malik would love to get in contact with him, please. And I would like to do some business with that brother.
Girl, you better go ahead and sprinkle that thing all over the universe like glitter. You better get that out there.
That's my personal goal for 2018.
Oh, love you too, Khadijah. Supervisor ever.
Oh,
yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. And you guys for chiming in, and please share. And again, tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. You know, the Empower Hour, and we try to tackle taboo topics. Today was supposed to be a different topic, but we kind of had to, you know, improvise and figure it out. And I think we did an awesome job. You know, good conversation, good response.
Thanks to the family. Yeah. The family helped out big time today.
Yes, thank you guys so much. And Alqamar, I will be seeing you next week, Wednesday. What do we have coming up?
Next, Malik Zulu Shabazz.
Yes, Malik Zulu Shabazz is going to be on the show. We're going to be interviewing him. This is about the 10,000 man march.
Yes.
Okay. You want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Like, what's coming up? The march.
There's a march going on, the 10,000 man strong march. Malik Zulu Shabazz is advising all of us, all the brothers, to come on into Washington, D.C., April 21st. It's a whole week-long convention, but the 21st or 22nd, whatever that Saturday is, he's doing a huge march. He's going to the lawn. He says he's going to Trump's lawn. And, for Black Lawyers for Justice. And so he's asking for some soldiers to come in support of that. You can go on to the Facebook page. It's a Facebook page about that, a 10,000, a Black Men's March or Black Man's Convention.
Okay.
And he will be on our program next week to talk more about it.
Okay. Cool. So if that's all for the Empower Hour, and we will see you guys next week, 2 p.m. Wednesday. See you there. Love you all.
Yeah.
Bye.
Love you too, Hanifah. Take care, family.
All right.
Peace.